After we've got all the elements of our program put together with jump cuts, crossfades, and overlays, we need to export the images for our program. While Blender can export them as a video file, it's actually better to export the program as DOM masters, then use another program to encode them into a video file. The main reason is that if Blender locks up, your computer crashes, or you have to make a change, you don't have to render all the frames again. To do a simple export, go to the Render menu and scroll down to Output. You'll have several options. For speed and smaller file size, select JPEG as your file output type. To avoid compression artifacts in the final frames, set the quality to 100%. Click on the File Output icon to open a directory. Find a directory for your files. You can create a new directory by clicking the icon at the top of the screen and giving the directory a name. Let's call this one DM for DOM Masters. Once the directory is created, click on it once to open it. In the blank line at the top of the screen, enter a base file name. Let's call this one Test. Add 5 pound signs after the base file name. When the file's output, this will add a sequential number to each file, starting with 00001. The 5 pound signs will also add leading zeros to the file names, so when we encode them, they'll encode in the right order. If you omit this step, Blender will number the frames 1 through 9999 with 4 digits, and frame number 10,000 and above with 5 digits. This will cause the frames to be encoded in the wrong order when the time comes. Click Accept, and you'll be ready to render. We're going to render all the frames as an animation. There are 3 ways to do this. From the Render menu at the top of the screen, click Render Animation. Or go to the Output tab and click Animation. The third way is to press Ctrl F12 on your keyboard, although I found that doesn't work on my Linux system. While each frame may render quickly, tens of thousands of frames can take quite a while to render. You may want to hold this step until the end of the workday, then let the computer render the frames overnight. If you look in the directory you created, you'll see all the frames. If you make a change in the video sequence editor, you don't need to render the whole animation again. Let's go back to the sequence we changed in a prior lesson. We changed a crossfade from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. Let's change it back again. Find the image strip and go to the second keyframe. Delete that keyframe by going to the Properties tab, hovering the mouse pointer over the opacity box, and pressing Alt-I on the keyboard. Go to frame 600. Enter 1 in the opacity box, hover the mouse pointer over the box, and press I to lock in the change. Our change affects only frames 451 through 600, so those are the only ones we have to render again. Enter 451 in the Start Frame box and 600 in the End Frame box. Press Ctrl F12 or use one of the other methods to render the animation. Once all of our DOM masters have been created, we'll need to convert them into a video file that will work with our system. The last video of this series deals with rendering for planetary projection systems.